Hi everybody, happy Easter. I hope you're all doing okay. So last lesson I showed you how to render. I actually draw 3 cubes and I showed you how to turn one of them into plastic. So we focused, if you remember, on the reflection lines. I showed you how to turn one of them into wood. And what I want to focus on today is the last one, which is glass. Now, if you notice, what I've done here is I've actually drawn some internal lines. So if I get my ruler here, you can see that this line here is parallel to this one, these two parallel. This one here, parallel to this one, okay? And then obviously the one going up through the middle. Now that shows that it's transparent, which means you can see through it. Now what then I've also done is, using a light blue pencil, is added just some little shade marks on each surface, just to make it show that actually there is a surface there, that it's transparent, you can see through it, but there is something there, because if not, it just looks empty. I also went round the outline in a light blue pencil just to add effect. So your first task is to do exactly that, to try drawing a glass cube, and then you have the complete set. You have the plastic, the wood, and the glass. Then this lesson is all about rendering your designs. So here's a design that I've done. Now this is a music system for a child, for a young child. Yes, it's a toy car, and yes, I have kind of used Cars, the film, as a bit of inspiration, the way I've drawn the eyes. But you can see I started off with the cube, and then I drew the rest of the car from there. Now, as you push the car along, it makes a sound, it makes a noise, and when you press this button on here, the siren plays. Now, is that music in terms of a song? No, but just the ni-no, ni-no, ni-no is a tune, okay, and that counts. So what I've done is I've done exactly what I said before. I've done these dots around, the 8 dots that I spoke about last lesson, and I told you I always pick this one. So what I've then done is I've then just very lightly, so they can be rubbed out, has done a 1, 2, 3 on the cube. Okay, just to remind myself that the top surface needs to be the lightest, and so on. So I can rub those out now, just so that they're gone. And then what I've done is, you can see I've started to render. Now I added 1 layer of colour on the top, because obviously that would be surface number 1, the light would hit that. 2 on here and 3 on here. Now something doesn't quite look right, and that's because we're talking about curved surfaces. So this wouldn't have this abrupt line to stop. What would happen instead is you would get this fade, okay? It would slowly fade into it. So this here would be a lot darker, okay, and should be a lot darker with the 3rd layer added. But you can see I've added this kind of fade effect, and actually you'd probably see a little bit of a fade on this surface here to show that it is rounded. And then on here you would get something similar where it would fade around. So you can start adding this gradual change rather than a cube where it's a very straight line. So again, adding this light fade taking place around there, so it all looks much more organic and much more curved. Then obviously don't forget your rub out lines like that. So I added 2 on there, and then this one would come down here, that one would come down there to show that it is plastic. And then I just need to just draw in some of the features again, and there you have it. It would start to look plastic, okay, and that could continue for the whole design. So your job today is very simple. I want you to render your designs, okay? Now what I want to do is I want to very quickly show you some more examples, okay, of what they might look like. So for the older male, you can see here I've done this one. So if you look, we've got the wood effect, and hopefully you can see on here the wood grain lines. I used the metal effect, which remember is the same as the plastic, to create that on there, like that. So that all fits together and that all works in terms of using the different rendering techniques that I showed you. I created another one here, which actually made this bus out of wood. Now, because this is painted wood to make it blue, you can see that although I've used blue, I've still added the wood grain effect. If you look on here, you can still see the lines, etc. So use these different techniques, okay, that I've shown you for rendering, and see if you can render your designs. Okay, hope you're keeping safe, and I'll speak to you next lesson.